RAG is dead. That is what half the AI internet has been shouting since June. And the thing that supposedly killed it, Google shipped, and I'm not joking, a folder of markdown files. Today, we find out what is actually true. By the end of this video, you will know exactly what Google's open knowledge format is, where RAG still wins, and the combined architecture that beats using either one alone. So 60-second refresher first. RAG, Retrieval-Augmented Generation, connects a model to your knowledge. A question comes in, a retriever searches your documents, pulls the most relevant chunks, injects them into the context window, and the model answers grounded in what it just read. Simple, powerful, and everywhere. But everyone who runs RAG in production knows the pain. Chunking chops your documents into fragments that lose their meaning. Indexes drift stale the moment the source changes. All structure, the relationship between things gets flattened. And the model researches the same facts every single time forever. So here is what actually happened in June. On June 12th, 2026, Google Cloud announced the Open Knowledge Format, version 0.1. It is an open, vendor-neutral specification, and the spec lives in public on GitHub in the Knowledge Catalog repo. No product launch, no API, a format. And the format is almost comically simple. An OKF bundle is a directory of markdown files with YAML friend matter on top. That is it. The promise written into the spec, it will never require a proprietary account, SDK, or cloud to read, write, or serve. Your knowledge is yours in plain text. So let's open one up. Each file is one concept, a single unit of knowledge. That can be a tangible asset like table or an API, or an abstract one like a metric definition or a business process. On top, a small YAML block for the machine. Below it, plain markdown for humans and models alike. One file, one idea readable by everything. The friend matter is deliberately tiny. One required field, type. Then a handful of optional ones, title, description, resource, tags, and a timestamp. That is the entire queryable surface. No ontology homework, no schema was. Zoom out to the bundle. Directories are organized however makes sense for your domain. The spec does not care. Any folder can hold an index.md that lists what is inside. So an agent can see what is available before opening files. That is called progressive disclosure. And a log.md records the change history. If this feels familiar, it should. The pattern comes straight from Andre Karpathy's LLM Wiki idea. Stop using AI to search raw documents over and over, and instead have the AI build and maintain a living wiki. His line says it all. LLMs do not get bored, do not forget to update a cross-reference, and can touch 15 files in one pass. And that is the twist most coverage misses. OKF is not just knowledge for agents to read. It is knowledge agents maintain. The schema changed, the agent updates the concept file, fixes every cross-reference, and appends to the log in one single pass. Your documentation stops rotting because the maintainer never sleeps. Why do agents love this shape? Because it is grippable. Finding a concept is a text search, not an embedding lookup. It is also Git versioned. Every change has a def, a blame, and a rollback. And it is human readable as well. The same file works in a pull request review and in a context window. So is this a RAG killer? Wrong question. They solve different problems at different layers. OKF shines on curated, structured knowledge, such as table schemas, metric definitions, runbooks, join paths. The stuff agents need repeatedly and reliably. RAG shines when you have millions of unstructured documents and need dynamic search. Put them side by side, curated versus raw, read directly versus retrieved by similarity, maintained by agents versus reindexed by pipelines, small and hot versus huge and long tail. Neither column wins in every row, and that is exactly the point. So, at the end of the day, RAG is not dead. The headline is a clickbait. Nothing about a folder of markdown searches 10 million support tickets, and nothing about a vector index keeps your metric definitions consistent, different layers. So, based on the question you are asking, these two can work together. So, quick gut check on which side you need first. If your agent keeps re-answering the same questions about your schemas, your metrics, your processes, that is OKF territory. If your users ask open questions over a giant document pile, that is RAG territory. Most real teams have both. Which brings us to the architecture that actually wins. OKF plus RAG. The hot curated knowledge lives in an OKF bundle. The agent reads directly, no retrieval step at all. The long tail, the endless document sits behind RAG. The agent checks the wiki first, searches the second. And here is the beautiful part. The two feed each other. Index your OKF bundle into the RAG pipeline too, because clean markdown with explicit friend matter chunks far better than a raw PDF dump. Best chunking material you will ever feed an embedder is a file that was written to be read. So let's see how we can build one. It hardly takes minutes. So we make a folder, add your first concept file, which is a YAML block with a type, say metric, a title, a couple of tags, then the definition in plain markdown below. Congratulations, you are now OKF compliant. Version 0.1 is genuinely that small. Add an index.md listing your concepts and put the whole thing in Git. That is the full stack. No database, no embedding job, no infrastructure. Point your coding agent at the folder or serve it through an MCP server like the one we built in the previous video. So now you can ask your agent, how do we define active users? It opens the index, finds the metric concept, and answers from the definition exactly every time with a file it can cite. No similarity search roulette. That consistency is what RAG alone could never give you. So, honest caveats before you go all in. This is version 0.1, weeks old, and the ecosystem is tiny. Critics have a fair jab. Is this a standard or just a folder with rules? Curation is real work that someone, human or agent, has to do. And governance for agent, written knowledge is an open question. But here is why it matters anyway. The last 2 years of AI infrastructure kept adding layers. Vector databases, chunkers, re-rankers, and many more. OKF is the opposite move. Knowledge as plain files owned by you, versioned in Git, maintained by the agents themselves. Even at version 0.1, that direction is worth betting a folder on. So to recap, OKF, it's a vendor neutral specification, markdown plus friend matter, built for curated knowledge that agents read and maintain. RAG, still the right tool for massive unstructured search, but if you use them together, wiki first, search second, and index the wiki into the search, that is the whole architecture. So you can, what you can do in this week itself, pick the 5 questions your agent gets asked the most, write them as 5 concept files, add an index, and then commit. Once that is done, wire it into your agent and watch the repeated questions disappear. Start with 5 files, not 500. Curate as you go. So the specification link, the example bundle, and the architecture diagram are all in the description. If this saved you from rebuilding your RAG stack for the wrong reason, you know what the subscribe button is for. CodeCraft Studio, AI and LLMs for developers. Hope to see you in the next one.